同学们好，现在我们讲新概念英语第三册的第15课啊 ，Sixpence worth of trouble. Children always appreciate small gifts of money. Father, of course, provides a regular supply of pocket money, but uncles and aunts are always a source of extra income. With some children, small sums go a long way. If sixpences are not exchanged for sweets, they rattle for months inside money boxes. Only very thrifty children manage to fill up a money box. For most of them, sixpence is a small price to pay for a satisfying bar of chocolate. My nephew, George, has a money box, but it is always empty. Very few of the sixpences I have given him have found their way there. I gave him sixpence yesterday and advised him to save it. Instead, he brought himself a sixpence worth of trouble. On his way to the sweet shop, he dropped his sixpence and it rolled along the pavement and then disappeared down the drain. George took off his jacket, rolled up his sleeves, and pushed his right arm through the drain cover. He could not find his sixpence anywhere, and what is more, he could not get his arm out. A crowd of people gathered around him, and a lady rubbed his arm with soap and butter. But George was firmly stuck. The fire brigade was called, and 2 firemen freed George using a special type of grease. George was not too upset by his experience because the lady who owned the sweet shop heard about his troubles and rewarded him with a large box of chocolates. 好，那么我们看这个第一句啊。Children always appreciate small gifts of money. 简单句啊，非常简单。Father, of course, provides a regular supply of pocket money, but uncles and ants are always a source of extra income 啊。那么这一句是一句复合句啊。第一句是这个 Father, of course, provides regular 那个，然后呢，这个跟它并列的是这个后面这句啊，用 but 跟并列的。Uncles and aunts are always a source of extra income 啊。好，那么 with some children, small sums go a long way。最简单句啊 ，small sums go a long way. If sixpences are not exchanged for sweets, they rattle for months inside. 那么这一句呢是一句条件句啊。If sixpence are not exchanged for sweets 啊，这个是条件状语从句啊。那么后面这个是主句 ，They rattle for months inside money boxes 啊。那么这里啊 ，Only very thrifty children manage to fill up a money box， 这一句也是简单句啊。那么 For most of them。Sixpence is a small price to pay for a satisfying bar of chocolate 啊，那么这一句呢，应该也是简单句。Sixpence is a small price to pay for a small price to pay for 这个是一个不定式啊。To pay for a satisfying bar of chocolate， 这个是这就是这个 price 的 small price 的。Sixpence is a small price to pay。For price to pay the price， 然后啊 price to pay 这个不定式是 to pay 啊，然后呢 pay 干嘛？我pay 了以后要得到什么？叫 pay for 啊，那么你也可以看这个整个是一个不定式啊 ，to pay price to pay for a satisfying bar of chocolate， 这是不定式啊，就是这个 price 的，或者是做状语的，它sixpence small price。这个应该修饰这个 price 啊，这个第二不定式应该修饰 price 的啊。那么后面 my nephew George has a money box, but it is always come empty. 这个是并列句啊。第一句是 My nephew George has a money box， 这是第一句。第二句是 It is always empty， 这个用一个 but 并列的啊。Very few of the sixpences I have given him have found their way there 啊。好，那么这一句呢里面呢，这有一个这个 I have given him， 这个呢是一个定语从句啊。这个定语从句省略了关系代词省略了，因为关系代词做宾语啊 ，which I have given him 啊。那么这个是修饰这个 sixpence 的啊。这个 sixpence I have given him very few 啊 ，very few 啊 ，have found their way there 啊。那么这个是定语从句，后面呢这个是谓语啊，主句的尾 have found their way there 啊。好，那么I gave him sixpence yesterday and advised him to save it。这是一句简单句啊。I gave him and advised 这两个并列的啊。I gave him sixpence yesterday。Gave him sixpence yesterday 跟这个 advise him to save it 这两个是并列的啊，用 and 并列起来。Instead, he bought himself sixpence worth of trouble 啊，这是简单句啊。好 ，On his way to the sweet shop, he dropped his sixpence and it rolled along the pavement and then disappeared down the drain。好，那么这一句呢是这样的啊，主句是这个是 he dropped his sixpence 啊，sorry， 这不是主句啊，这是一句啊 ，he dropped his sixpence 是这一句，这一句呢和后面一句是并列的 ，and it rolled along the pavement and then disappeared 啊，这是一句啊，这一句跟前面一句 he dropped his sixpence 啊是并列的啊，那么这个 it 是指那个 sixpence 啊。这个 sixpence 是什么呀 ？Rolled along the pavement and then disappeared down the drain。啊，那么这里面呢，后面这句呢，两个谓语并列的 ，rolled along the pavement， 这是一个谓语啊，然后跟后面这个 then disappeared down the drain， 这两个呢是并列的谓语啊。好，那么 George took off his jacket, rolled up his sleeve, and pushed his rhino through the drain cover。哈，那么这个呢是也是谓语并列简单句啊，为什么 ？George took off his jacket， 这个是一个谓语。然后呢，第二个谓语是 rolled up his sleeves， 啊，这个第二个谓语。然后呢，第三个谓语是 pushed his right arm through the drain cover， 啊，这三个谓语呢是并列的啊。那么 he could not find his sixpence anywhere。And what is more, he could not get his arms out。好，那么这个是两句并列句啊。首先第一句是 he could not find his sixpence anywhere， 这是第一句啊。然后呢是第二句是这一句，第二句是 what is 啊，这是第二句。那么这两句呢用一个 and 呢把它并列起来了，用 and 把它并列起来。那么在这个第二句里面有一个从句啊，这是第二句对不对？那么第二句里面有一个 what is more， 这个是从句啊，那么这个是状语从句啊，what is more 是状语从句啊，那么这个状语从句呢，就是说更有甚者啊，就是说啊what is more 啊 ，what is more 是那个属于是应该说是名词性的一个状语从句啊。sorry， 不是名词性，状语从句不是名词性啊，我讲错了啊，不 sorry。这状语从句 ，what is more is 这个呢是一个以 what 引导的一个状语从句啊 ，what is more 啊。那么像这种状语从句呢，你属于是什么类型的呢？也很难说。那意思我们知道 ，what is more 是更有甚者啊，更有甚者 what is more 啊。然后呢 ，he could not get his arms out， 这个是主句啊。那么下面啊 ，a crowd of people gathered around him, and the lady rubbed himself with the super bottle, but George was firmly stuck 啊。那么这一句呢，这个呢是这样的啊，这一句句子呢，这个结构呢也是比较那个的。 这句句子呢是3句句子的并列啊，3句句子的并列。第一句是 A crowd of people gathered around him， 这是第一句啊。那么第二句呢是 A lady rubbed his arm with soap and butter， 这是第二句。那么第三句呢是 George was firmly stuck， 啊，这是第三句。那么这个3句呢，它是怎么连的呢？第一句、第二句呢，它有用一个 and 把它连接起来的。然后呢，这个第二句呢，跟后面的最后一句呢，它用了一个 but 呢跟它连起来的。啊，那么是这3句呢，基本上就是并列的啊。But George was firmly stuck， 啊，那么后面 The firebrand was called and 2 firemen were using 好，这呢也是2句并列，2句句子并列。第一句是 The fire brigade was called， 啊，这是第一句，跟这第二句呢是并列的。2 firemen freed George using a special type of 那个啊，那么这第二句里面呢有一个现在分词短语 ，using a special type of grease 啊，这是做状语的啊。这个做状语，它使用什么 a special type of freed George 啊 using 啊，那么后面是 George was not too upset by his experience because the lady who owned about his trouble， 巴拉巴拉。好，这一句呢比较长一点啊，也是比较长一点。好，那么主句呢是这个 George was not too upset by his experience， 这个呢是主句啊。那么后面呢，首先呢来了一句原因状语 ，because the lady who owned the sweet shop heard about his troubles and rewarded him。好，这个呢是整个是一个原因状语从句啊，这是由 because 引导的原因状语从句啊。那么这个原因状语从句里面呢，大家知道啊，这个原因状语这个主语是 the lady， 对不对？然后后面这个 who owns the sweet shop 啊，这个呢是一个定语从句啊。这个定语从句，这个 who 是指这个 lady 啊 ，the lady owns the sweet，the lady who owns the sweet shop， 这是定语从句，修饰这个主语 lady 的啊。然后谓语是什么？谓语是 heard about his troubles and rewarded him with a large box。这个呢是2个并列的谓语啊。那么第一个谓语是什么 ？Heard about his troubles， 这是第一个谓语。第二个谓语是什么 ？Rewarded him with a large box of chocolate， 这是第二个谓语啊。那么这2个谓语之间呢，有一个 and 连接的啊。那么同学们注意啊，我现在想起来跟同学们讲一件事情啊，就是我这里平时讲的这个谓语啊。我把谓语后面的成分都把它讲成谓语了啊。比如说 heard about his troubles， 比如说这个 rewarded him with a chocolate， 这个呢就是说我把谓语动词和谓语动词后面的都称作谓语啊。那么语法里面有这么一个分析方法的啊。你这个谓语啊，我们中文里面所谓的谓语啊，你既可以单纯是指这个谓语里面的这个谓语动词词组，这个叫谓语。然后呢是谓语、宾语宾语、补语等等的，这是一种分析方法。另外还有一种呢，就是说英文里面呢，你可以把句子呢就分析成两个部分，一个就是主语，除了主语以外都是谓语啊。那么我呢这个是2个分析方法，我会经常换的啊。那么我这里指的谓语就是除了主语以外，就其他的成分都是谓语了啊。这个谓语里面包括这个动词词组和一些状语或者是宾语包含在这个谓语里面的这个谓语那个动词词组里面的有宾语有状语我这个呢都把它包含进去，都说它是谓语都作为谓语来处理的那么这个是英文语法里面2种这个分析方法，我这里呢跟大家讲一下。好，那么今天这一课就讲到这里，谢谢大家，再见。